Hey, what's going on, guys? So, today I just kind of wanted to go over some of the drifting stuff, and I wanted to go over my drift setup that I've been using, at least on one of my cars, and just kind of the settings and stuff, because so far right now drifting's been, I think, a little complicated, at least as far as trying to make it as smooth as possible and making your transmissions, wow, the transitions very smooth as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys, let's see, I'm just gonna go ahead and go into arcade mode. I'm kind of sick right now, so sorry if I sound funny or I'm sniffling, but I did want to make this video so that people can kind of get a better idea. Alright, I guess I can go to drift trial. Sure, why not? So I'm gonna go ahead and pick Suzuka here. Let's go with East Circuit. And on the time of day, nah, I'll just make it during the day. That way you guys can, the lighting's not affecting anything. Okay. Okay, so some of the cars I've been drifting with is the 86 Group 4, the Mustang GT Premium Fastback, the Corvette C7, and the M4 Group 4, as well as the 86 GT, the Road or 300 and 300 version, the F-Type as well. Today I'm gonna go ahead and just show you guys the 86, the Group 4 version. Just gonna go ahead and load that up. Of course, for drifting, I'm gonna be using manual transmission. Let's load this up here. Now I will say that I was reading in the patch notes, and actually a buddy of mine, Eon, he was, me and him were discussing that there's gonna be a future update, at least for people with controller, where they're gonna be addressing some counter steering issues and making the counter steering speed a little bit faster and smoother, and it says that you'll be able to maintain counter steer a lot cleaner and better. So hopefully that update does come soon, because I think with controller it is really hard to maintain the angle. I remember on previous GTs, I could come in with like reverse entries and stuff like that, and currently I'm unable to do that in this game. Okay, so manual transmission, tires, comfort hard, all day every day. I know some people like to use the comfort mediums or comfort soft or maybe sport soft or something like that. But what the reason with comfort hard, that for me specifically, when you're transitioning, I feel like the transitions are a lot smoother when you're using comfort hard. Yes, you have a lot less grip with your car, but everything that you do, I think, is going to be a lot smoother with comfort hard tires specifically. So I would use comfort hard tires. I think you're going to get a lot smoother transitions like that. Test it for yourself. Use comfort mediums, use comfort soft, use super soft sports, whatever. But I feel that with the comfort hards, you will get a lot smoother transition, especially if you're trying to tandem. You don't want to be too fidgety on your transitions there. Auto drive off, the markers, it doesn't really matter anything. That's all, of course, stability management is off. Now the counter steering assist right now, before the patch, I do have it on weak. I do feel like it does help in certain circumstances. Maybe when I'm transitioning, it's not too fidgety. It does help a little bit, or if I do make a mistake, it is there to kind of help me a little bit. Now when I put it on strong, it does kind of give me some weird effects, so I did not put it on strong. But I would say to put it on weak. You know, don't feel like, oh, you know, I'm not a pro because I can't put it on off. I would at least put it on weak for now, just until that update. Then I would say maybe try it with off or something. But even if weak is on, oh well, you know, like Twitch is on. You know, just have fun out there when you guys are drifting. ABS, I just keep it on default. You guys can change that or not. Now the biggest thing that I would tell you guys is the controller steering sensitivity right now. If you when it comes out stock or default, it's like somewhere around 2, 3, I don't know, but somewhere around this vicinity. And if you go lower, it's really bad. Right now, the biggest change you could do, if you don't do anything, at least do this. The controller steering speed sensitivity should be 7, and I think that's because when you're transitioning with the controller steering sensitivity being low, you're not able to save the car. You're not able to turn the wheels quick enough to save yourself, or you know, to keep the counter steering going while you're sliding through the corner and to maintain at least the majority of the angle you can hold right now. Like right now, you're not going to see me doing any killer entries or anything, and like I said, I think it's because of us being before the update. Once that update comes out, I think we're going to be able to hold a lot more angle. I think we'll be able to be a little bit more aggressive on our entries and the angle and so on and so forth. At least I hope so. So hopefully that's the case. But your steering sensitivity 7. That is like the number one thing. Your torque and sensitivity here for the feedback, unless you're on a wheel, I don't think is really going to matter. I've turned it up and down all the way, and yeah, don't worry about that. So okay, so we got that down. Okay, so now this is one of the most important parts as well. So I'm on the drift tab here. You can do road and drift. I'm on the drift tab. Now for the power ratio, I went down just a couple of notches, but I will say, like, on the levels, I would go up at least 2 levels. Even though I have the power ratio here at about 98, and on the first level or whatever it was, like, you know, I'm still not increasing the power, but because my engine puts out more power in general, I believe that it still gives me a better torque rating or something like that. So I don't know, I'm not like a pro car guy, but all I can say is some people are saying don't upgrade the power. I've seen a couple of videos where they were like, don't upgrade the power on your drift cars or something like that. That's true, but I have the power ratio lower, you know, so like I'm not putting it all the way up here to where it could be at 448 or whatever. You know, I just have it here at 98, which is 352 horsepower. But I feel like you get an overall better sense of power, torque, maybe the power band. I don't know, whatever. But I would say upgrade it a little bit, but don't put it at the full power. Don't, you know, keep it anywhere in the middle or just below the middle. Now the weight reduction, I would say for that, to compensate for the lower power we're going to be running, do that one and fully max that out. So just take your weight reduction ratio and max that out, level it up as far as it can go, and then take away as much weight as you can. So right now with the 8.6, I'm at 2,000 pounds. That's pretty light. That's really light. Again, no traction control, comfort hard tires. The brake balance, I didn't mess with it. To be honest, when I messed with it, I didn't really notice too much of a difference, so that's up to you guys there. So ride height, I have all the way low in the front and the rear. Some people are saying match the height in the front to the rear. I don't really think that's a big deal. I've tried it out. I went through all these sliders, guys. Like, I went through every single slider, went up and down on every single thing. Regardless if it's realistic or not, I'm just telling you guys what I feel feels the best for me and is the most smoothest right now drifting. So I have those all the way down. You could probably mess with that. Okay, now here, I noticed when I adjusted the stiffness or whatnot, higher or lower, it made a pretty big difference. So I kind of stuck around the middle range. I didn't go too soft or too hard. Like, I kind of kept it in the middle, you know. I felt that that's where it was best. But I did like the front just a little bit stiffer on the frequency here, so I put 281 and 280 for the rear. Same thing with the roll bars. I wanted to go a little bit stiffer. I felt like it just gave me smoother transitions, and it gave me the best grip at this setting. So I went 7 and 4, and I believe that's actually the default setting. So after completely adjusting those, I think the default was actually the way to go. So here as well, 55 and 56 for the damping. Again, it's just where it felt best. Some of this stuff might actually be pretty default, but honestly, this is where it felt the best. But I went just a hair up in the front on pretty much everything. Damping, 86, 85. The negative camber, when I put too much negative camber in the rear, I felt like every time I spin out, or I hit somebody or went off track, with that negative camber, it took me a while to get up and go. So like the get up and go, my tires were just spinning a lot, and I had a lot less traction. So I try to keep that at 0 so that I can have the most traction I can in the rear. Because when when you're starting out on the line, you're getting ready to tandem, you're on Suzuka or whatnot, and you're like that last guy in the back because your car is just spinning and spinning. So I noticed it was just even worse with the negative camber in the rear. Now, if you like to slam your cars out and stuff for the aesthetics, that's fine. You can do that. I mean, it is going to feel a little funky, but you can't do that. But anyway, so negative camber, I put just a little bit. I put 1.5 in the front. Now, at the beginning, that there was toe in the rear and there was like camera in the rear, I would say keep those both at 0. I think it felt the best. Now, for the toe angle in the front, I went up a little bit. I think the default was a little bit lower or something like that, or even was in. But I would say to go about halfway to 1. So anywhere between 0.45 to 0.50, I think is going to be your best bet. And again, for me, the more negative camber I had, the more like snappy the transitions were. So this is where it felt best, and this is where it felt best to also have enough grip and maintain the angle. For the aerodynamics, I just tried to take it all the way down. I didn't really want the car to be super heavy or grippy feeling like that. When I did put the grip up there, again, the transitions, it felt more snappy. It felt like the car was trying to grip every time I was throwing it, so it was just like snapping on me. It didn't really feel so well. So I was really trying to make the most smoothest drifting setup I could do. So I completely took that off. Now, this is another huge deal. Huge deal. And I think this here with the LSD, the drivetrain, kind of balanced itself out with how I did the power setup. Because I think if you don't run enough power and then you're running this specific drivetrain setup, you're probably never going to really drift very well. The car is always going to be fighting and gripping because you don't have enough torque, you don't have enough of the torque sensitivity, you don't have enough of that, locked rear end to keep the tires spinning, and you don't have the power to get through some of those big corners. But because how we did the power setup, it allows us to run this very low. And right now I feel like when you get on the throttle a lot, it's so touchy. I'll be going through the corners and I'll get on the throttle and I'm just doing 360s when I first started out, or I was getting on, I was getting back on the power in the middle of the corner, and the car would just completely over kick sideways and spin out, right? And I don't want to do that. I like to drift aggressive. I like to be a little bit more on the throttle. Now, I will say right now in the game, you still have to be pretty easy on the throttle, especially on those small hairpin corners, low speed corners. You got a lot less grip going on. You got to be really soft on that throttle. Be really easy on it still. But I do feel like this will help you a lot for sure. Test it and see how you guys like it, but I really think that this is going to help out a lot. So the initial torque I have on 5, which is the lowest setting, and then the acceleration sensitivity is also on 5, which is the lowest setting. Now this almost makes for, the rear end almost not locked, and it also makes it for that when you hit on the power, it's not really putting all that power down on the rear end. But I kind of want that because, like I said, I kept spinning out, I kept hitting the throttle in the corners, and it wasn't enjoyable to do that. You know, I didn't want to hit the throttle and my car has so much kick, it's just spinning me around in 180s, and I'm just, you know, spinning all crazy like the Roger Rabbit ride at Disneyland or something. So I wasn't trying to go teacup style. Now the LSD brake sensitivity, this just kind of helps the wind, I believe, of the diff when you're downshifting, or, you know, when you're coming down, you know, off your gears, you're slowing down, you know, the speed it takes for, you know, the diff to wind down or whatnot, to slow you down a little bit. So I feel that having it a little higher was a little bit better. So if you do come in a little hotter to the corners, it helps to kind of like almost engine brake, just slow that rear end down a little bit. I don't know. I'm not a pro at all this stuff, guys, but I'm just saying that I think this is one of the best settings for this right here. Now you guys might not like any of these settings, and that's great, but I really think that at least starting here will help some of you guys if you don't have any idea of how to do any of these settings here. So I think this will help you. Now the transmission, it's probably up to you guys how you like to run your gears. You know, I don't want a huge long gear, you know, so I try to go a little bit more on a shorter final drive kind of scenario. So I picked my top speed here at 130, so my gears are a little shorter, right? Like if I go over here, my gears are super long, but I don't really want that. I want my gears to engage and be there pretty quick, and to stay in the power band and keep the drifts going smoothly, to keep the car sideways. So that's pretty much it. My final gear 4.1. I didn't mess with any of these here specifically. You guys can go in here and mess with these, it's up to you, but I just put the top speed at 130, and that's what worked best for me. So like I said, guys, try this out. I really think it's gonna help you. And this, I will say, the hugest thing is the power ratio, the weight reduction, how we have it set up here, and as well as the drivetrain setup is probably the biggest deal. Some of this stuff here can kind of fluctuate a little bit, but still I found that these settings were the most smoothest settings that I could find. So okay, so let's go ahead and see how this plays out in action. Sorry, I'm not really. Sorry, I was trying to focus so you can kind of see how it's working here. Oops, messed up a little bit. So I can get a better run than that, but that was just real quick to show you guys. I don't want to show you 500 runs of me doing that. As you can see here, if you look on the right, my best run was 29,000. Like, I'm no pro drifter at this game by far. Let's go ahead and look at a replay just so you guys can see that there. And I haven't drifted today. That was just a first go at it, so it wasn't perfect. But like I said, it's just to look smooth, and so you're not fighting the car the whole time. So let's take a look at the replay real quick. Okay, so one of the things that I actually just seen there, I'm gonna go ahead and start it again, was I was being a little cautious. So let's go ahead and go into third person, and let's really try and kick some angle on this one here. So I messed up a little bit there, but go ahead and save it. So I do want you guys to see that you can get angle too. I was driving pretty safe there. Oh, so right there got a little too much angle. And like I said, hopefully with the patch, that's something that'll be addressed, because trying to hold angle right now I think is just difficult for anybody regardless of the setup. So at least when you're on the controller, if you're on a wheel, it's gonna be a lot nicer for you. But I was really trying to push a little bit more angle that time around, and as you can see, still, even when I did lose it, I was still able to kind of bring it back a little bit. Like, it's really difficult to bring it back, but at least you're not doing 360s out there just spinning around doing 180s, and the transitions do feel really smooth, so this will help also with tandems. Man, these replays just look amazing, right? Yeah, right there I was just unable to save that. Just lots of angle, and you know, I think regardless of the setup right now, that's just due to the physics before hopefully we get that update, and that'll change. Like I said, unless you're on a wheel. Alright, so anyway guys, that's pretty much it. I'll just leave you here again, looking at the settings here. I hope that this does help. Like I said, these are no professional settings, or by any means, if you use these settings, it's going to make you a beast. But I do think that if you have nowhere to start from, that these settings will help you for sure. And I think they'll give you a lot smoother of a drifting line. And I think they'll at least help you from the spin outs and the transitions being real snappy. So, but anyway guys, if you guys liked the video, be sure to subscribe. And thank you for watching, and hope to see you guys out there on the track in GT Sport. Have a good day. Peace.